Well, hey, howdy, hi, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by to join me today. I really do appreciate it. My name is Ellie, and I'm a witch. This over here is my teaching assistant, Andy, and today is day 11 of Killmas, so a little present to add. Today is another child murder case. I don't know why. This is just how it worked out this month, I guess. So, tea time and true crime on Tuesday. Also child, well, not murder, abduction. Presumed murder. The point is, I'm never talking about this, and I'm going to try to stop that in January. But today's case is at least a little bit shorter. Today's a little bit more gruesome than I normally talk about. If you don't like that, I definitely recommend skipping it. If you don't like child murder, definitely recommend skipping it. Mentions of suicide, if anybody is against that, yeah, it's a heavy one, but it is short. I doubt it's any more than like a couple minutes longer than the video I put out yesterday. So there's that. But today is day 11, which means that it is our last true crime case of Killmas, which is super exciting, and then tomorrow is the very last day of Killmas. Really wish I could have gotten out 12 days of Killmas, but we're gonna settle for what we can do. And it's still been fun. It's been a lot of fun for me to like research and like do all these extra videos and just you get more comfortable in front of the camera. So this has been really good for me, but this is not good for the people in the story. So I'm gonna stop talking about myself and we're gonna jump into the video. So as I mentioned before, obviously if you're not a fan of child murder, don't watch this. If you're not a fan of me talking about the gruesome ways to kill children, don't watch. There's also mentions of suicide as well as sexual abuse of a child. Any of that's something you don't think you can handle, definitely click away. No hard feelings there. Find something else that you can definitely watch. I have plenty of videos on my channel. However, to sell this story, I do have to go back a little bit. So in 1911, Charles Davis, or Charlie Lawson, married a woman named Fanny Manring, and then the two would actually go on to have 8 children together. However, their third child, William, died at only age 6 after battling an unnamed illness. The Lawson family eventually moved to Germantown, North Carolina, where Charlie would work as a tobacco farmer while saving up money for his own land, which they did eventually move to, and they began their own farm. Then in 1929, just a few days before Christmas, Charlie took Fanny and their 7 children, Arthur, who was 19, Mary, who was 17, Carrie at 12, Maybelle 7, James at 4, Raymond at 2, and then Mary Lou at just 4 months old, into town, and he took the family clothes shopping, and then they went to get their portrait taken. So this outing actually seemed strange to some, but it seemed reasonable to others. So for farmers at the time, this was an extravagant outing, given the cost of the new clothes and then the portrait. Others have made the case that the Lawson family was actually very successful for their farm, and so it wasn't an excessive amount of money. However, whatever the case may be, this was unusual for this family to take the trip into town, and it kind of looks like premeditation, as if Charlie had planned a last outing in picture with the family. The afternoon of December 25th, Charlie started his familicide. He stood behind their barn, and when Carrie and Maybelle passed by on their way to their aunt and uncle's house, Charlie shot the 2 girls with a 12-gauge shotgun. He really wanted to make sure that the two were dead, so he then bludgeoned his own daughter's bodies. He then dragged them into the barn. Charlie then returned to the house where he shot Fanny on the porch, and upon hearing the gunshot, Marie screamed from inside the house while James and Raymond tried to hide. Now, Marie was shot next, and then Charlie searched for the boys, shooting them when he found them. He then turned on Mary Lou, but she was not shot, rather beaten to death. After he had finished killing his family, he walked in the woods and shot himself. There was only one survivor, and that being his son Arthur, who had been out running errands when the massacre took place. The family was all found with their arms crossed over their chests and a rock under their heads. Now, Charlie hadn't shot himself before Arthur had returned home. His eldest son discovered his mother and siblings and even was able to return with police. So, police were actually at the home when the gunshot in the woods went off. So, at that point, police and Arthur ran into the woods where they found Charlie's body, and they had noticed a small trench around a nearby tree, assuming that Charlie had been pacing prior to the suicide. They also found letters to Charlie's parents in his pockets. Now, there were, of course, theories presented as to why this family man turned on the entire family before turning the gun on himself. One of those theories is related to a head injury he received several months prior. Now, it's not known what the injury specifically was, however, he did end up with something like a concussion. Now it's been proven that head injuries, more so repeated head injuries, led to personality changes. Many people actually attribute Henry VIII's personality to concussions, but I digress. So, some people think that maybe this head injury somehow related to or caused Charlie to commit the murders. However, the other widely believed theory is that the murders had been due to his sexual abuse of his daughter Marie. So, this theory comes from word of mouth and may not be entirely reliable. However, it was a theory put forth thanks to the book White Christmas, Bloody Christmas. The day before the book was set to be published, the author received a call from Stella Lawson. She is, of course, a relative of the family, but she had actually been interviewed for the book. However, she said she was part of a conversation involving Fanny, Fanny's sister-in-law, and Stella's own mother, Jetty. Now, Fanny was confiding in the women that she was concerned there was untoward actions taking place between Charlie and Marie. In this author's other book, The Meaning of Our Tears, Ella May has come forward to give an interview. Now, Ella May was a friend of Marie's, and Marie had apparently told Ella the few weeks before the massacre that she was pregnant and the father was her father. It's thought that there could have been a catalyst for the murders. Marie had already told Fanny, so if it got out what he had done, his life would be over. So he took care of the problem before it could become public. In the aftermath, the family was laid to rest in their own private family graveyard with one main headstone, and it's decorated in a way that implied Charlie was a Freemason. Now, Arthur was actually killed in an auto accident in 1945. He left behind a wife and 4 children. And then the Lawson farm was open to the public as a tourist attraction, and of course there are numerous songs that take inspiration from the event, and Netflix even released an episode of the show 28 Days Haunted that actually showed where the family was laid to rest and gives an overview of the events. So that's all I have for you today. I think I lied. I don't think this is any longer than the last video, but it's sadder. Like, obviously all murder and death is sad, but it's a lot of kids to be killed, especially a little baby. She's only 4 months old. That's really sad. But I really like the idea that like we're starting to attribute concussions with personality changes, like looking at past cases, not like, oh, he was just crazy. No, he had a head injury, and while it doesn't excuse it, it explains it at least. And 100% going to talk about Henry VIII. I think that is fascinating, and we are 100% going to talk about the concussions that he received and his sudden personality changes. Not the topic I'm talking about today, though. But if you liked the video, hit that thumbs up button and tell me what you're excited about for Christmas. We're getting so close. And if you didn't like the video, hit that thumbs down button and tell me what you think I can improve in the comments down below. I, of course, welcome constructive criticism. And with all that being said, I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.